All right, find five, ugly five. Five best, five worst teams in the NFL. Who are they? Let's do it. Number 5, who's the fifth worst team in the NFL? I'll start with you, Ryan.
The Denver Broncos. They were number 4 in my ugly 5 last week. Dropped to number 5 for some other reasons I'll get to in a second, but we all know what's going on in Denver. They're a mess. I don't see Joe Flacco finding the fountain of youth anytime soon, and it's ugly. So they're 5 for me.
Mine would be the Washington Deadskins. I mean, my God,
wow.
they have to play them. I think
have
I'm
them
being
ranked
nice.
that high. You're
I
being
think I'm
very
being
nice.
nice.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Very nice.
But I still think that they've got some decent talent on that team. And it wouldn't surprise me if they beat the Giants this week. I'm not fully all out on them yet. But, I mean, my gosh, they're thinking about maybe playing Colt McCoy this week. So that's not very promising for them. But I'm not ready to really bottom of the barrel with them as far as maybe this first or second, third. But they're getting there.
I got Arizona minus 41. They've given up 115. This is a team that's been at home 3 times already and haven't won any of them. 0-2-1 at home. They got an ugly game this week. Probably the worst game on the NFL schedule this week is Arizona at Cincinnati.
Oh.
Brutal.
Enjoy that one. But
That's not on Thursday Night Football?
It might be.
How about Thursday Night Football is a good game, actually?
Yeah, this week it is.
Yeah.
I got Arizona number 5. They've been bad. And you asked a question the other day. What about Kingsbury? Like, he was supposed to come in, and they were at least supposed to be somewhat good offensively.
Right.
You know, they've scored 74 points this year. Worst in the West.
Oh.
Worst
so the
in
air
the
raid
West.
offense is actually not working in the NFL?
Got a flat
I'm
tire.
so surprised.
Not much air to that raid.
All right, who's number 4? Let's start with you, Geoff Mosher.
It is the Arizona Cardinals for pretty much all the reasons that you just mentioned. I just don't see a whole lot of talent on that team.
It's really not much else needs to be said. Mine's a little bit different, Mo. So number 4, I have the Eagles' opponent, the New York Jets.
It's a good candidate.
Yeah, right. I mean, the bottom 6, 7, 8 teams in this league, you can pick any of them. But 0-3, as we all know, they only have 1 touchdown from scrimmage in their first 3 games. Sam Darnold's out, kissing chicks. He has mono. Who knows when he's going to return? Tight end's out on suspension. So they're a mess. They come in at number 4 for me.
4 for me. Bengals, that offensive line, awful. And quite frankly, they weren't very good defensively either. They've scored 57. They've given up 110. They're a minus 53. They did play hard in week 1 on the road. They're 0-3 there, but that effort on Monday night was just dreadful. Gets them at number 4 in the ugly 5. Number 3, I got the Jets. This is a team that didn't play last week, so they got the benefit of the doubt for not playing. But offensively bad, only 33 points this year, only in 3 games. They're averaging about 10 points a game. They're under their 3rd quarterback. Defensively, they're not bad. They've only given up 70. But, this is a team that's a disaster. They don't even know who's playing quarterback yet this week because of the whole situation with the mono. Just very Jets-esque. So I got the Jets number 3.
All right, number 3 for me, boys, is the Cincinnati Bengals, 0-4. Another dumpster fire, another one. But this team, 6, towards the basement of the NFL. I don't get any with Andy Dalton. He's Mr. September. It's October now. We only get worse up in Cincy. So they're number 3 for me in the ugly 5.
Right. So when you have to make these decisions between the ugly 5, and there are about 7 teams that qualify, you have to separate one from the other. So I have the Bengals also at 3. So I've got Washington, Arizona, then Cincinnati. Why don't I have Denver? Well, Denver to me has a quarterback. He may not be great, but he's won a Super Bowl. They have Von Miller, Chris. They have, I feel like they lose close games to even decent teams. But the Bengals are just horrific. They have no offensive line. They have a decent D-line, but it's really not doing much because it's got to carry the load. A.J. Green's out, and now John Ross is out. I believe he just got put on IR today. So that's a team with nothing good in the trenches, nothing good at quarterback, and nothing good in the future. So they're 3 right now.
Denver's also a team that did not – they're 0-4, but they did not make my ugly 5. There are, as you mentioned, about 7, 8 teams that are in this conversation. Right. They didn't make it for me. Number 2 to Haskins. They don't know if Haskins is going to play. They might play Colt McCoy. They've got problems. McLaurin's their best receiver, who's a rookie. He's hurt.
Yep.
Jordan Reed, who's their best offensive weapon at tight end, he's hurt.
I think Scherf got hurt too, right? The offensive
Vernon
lineman?
Davis, the backup tight end, he's got a concussion.
Gruden's halfway out the door.
Yeah, I mean, the coach might not make it. I mean, you can make an argument that this team is worse than Miami because Miami's being transparent.
Do they play Miami this year? I think they do because the Eagles do,
Pretty
right?
sure, yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Can't wait for that matchup.
Miami's got some doozies. I mean, they get the Jets twice. They've got the Bengals on their schedule.
Oh, that's wonderful.
I
That's a
would
great
love-
slate of Thursday games right there.
Wait, can you see
They
Miami?
play the Redskins next week.
Oh,
Can you see Miami getting that win? And not being
Yes.
the worst team in the league this year
Washington
after everything.
plays Miami next week, and
There
both
you
of them
go.
are going to be in a dumpster
Toilet
fire
bowl.
situation. Who do you have at number 2?
I have the Washington Redskins. Do I need to say anything else?
No, and I have the Jets.
All right,
I don't
fair.
think I need to say anything else.
No.
And we all have the Dolphins at number 1. All right, they are the ugly fives this week.
I tell you, if one of us wanted to be bold and a little bit forward thinking, we might have slipped Miami out of the number 1 and 2 and 3 for one of those like Jets, Bengals, or
Washington
You
to me
can't.
could
You
be in
can't.
that conversation.
It could.
You can make an argument that Miami performed better than Washington did against the Giants. I mean, they played the Chargers at least.
I would get on board with Washington worse than Miami, but you can't take Miami.
No, but I'm saying if you want to be forward thinking,
Yeah.
and then you wind up being right in a week
Right.
if Miami's beating Washington with like a minute to go. Does the coach like sub out all the starters?
That'd be funny. But here's the thing: if you're Washington and you're the worst team in the league, you get the number 1 overall pick. You just drafted a quarterback last year in the first round.
Yeah.
You're going to do the what Arizona
Trade
did
him.
and draft another one.
Maybe.
Well, sure. That's a dysfunctional
They have a new
franchise. I
coach,
can see
too,
that.
yeah.
But my point is, like,
Right.
they just ass backwards themselves into it.
They're not even good at being bad.
All right, who are the best 5 teams? I think this one is really interesting. Like, there's a lot of teams that could be in this fine 5, depending on what you like. There were a lot of teams that lost last week that were in the fine 5. Did they stay in? I'm really intrigued by what everybody thinks is the 5 in the league. All right, let's start with number 5. Who do you got?
I have the Philadelphia Eagles. I had them. I've had them in my 5 for a while. I knocked them down a little bit because this is about right now, and with that cornerback situation, it's really ugly. And if they were playing any other team from the Jets, you'd be really scared. In fact, we're still scared even though they're playing the Jets. But I still believe, and they bounced back in a big way against Green Bay, that they are one of the top 5 teams in this league.
So number 5 for me, I had the Dallas Cowboys reluctantly come in at number 5 after that loss in New Orleans. Once again, tough place to go and win, but still, with all the hype and the, coming out the gates hot, that's a game that they would have liked to win. They didn't do it. I still have them in at number 5.
I'm going with the Saints here at number 5, and I know that sounds a little odd, but they're 3-1 without Breeze. They're going to get Breeze back here soon. If they can hang on at the top of that division and get Breeze back, I loved their defense last week. They gave up 10 to Dallas. They played very well defensively. Offense, they need a little, boost. I think Michael Thomas is really hurting a little bit without Breeze here, but when they get it back in a couple of weeks here, and they're in the position they are right now, I got to like that team. So I'm giving them credit for a very good win last week because there was so many other teams that I really just couldn't separate and decipher. I said, you know what? They get the gold star for beating Dallas, number 1, and that's an impressive win, and winning 2 games without Drew Brees.
Yeah.
So I like what the Saints have done without him. I got them at number 5. Number 4, I got Philly at number 4. I was very impressed with the way they, as Adam said, kind of persevered. They just didn't, they're down 10-0. They came back in that game. And I think that was an eye-opening experience for a lot of people to say, look, even shorthanded, this team can figure out ways to win. And I think it really highlighted he's only getting better as he gets more weapons. I think that was a very good sign. I like the Eagles at number 4 this week.
Number 4 for me, guys, is the Saints.
Wow.
I want to put the
I
Eagles.
thought I was going out on a little bit of a limb there.
And listen, for 3, I still get up this morning. They deemed the Saints the best team in the end. I give them a ton of credit for winning these games without Drew Brees. Hat off to Bridgewater for just keeping things under control and getting wins. Drew Brees is going to come back, and they can be really dangerous with a lot of momentum. So Saints, for me, guys, come in at number 4.
Well, you guys are off your rockers. As far as me, at number 4, I have the Saints. For a lot of the reasons you guys just described.
I'm really surprised. This will be interesting to kind of recap when we're done.
Yeah, I was really impressed with their defense. I'm a little bit nervous and reluctant knowing they play the Bucs this weekend, and they're going to have to score, I think, some points. And right now the one thing that you can say about the Saints is even when they're winning, Bridgewater throws is a swing pass or a slant or something within 5 or 10 yards. But you know what?
It's working.
They're moving the ball. It's working. They have the weapons. Kamara is an absolute beast. He may be the
Scary.
best overall running back in the league, not named Saquon Barkley right now, and they're at home. So I think they're going to be revenge-minded against the Bucs, who beat them last year in the season opener in their house. So good opportunity for them to go 4-1.
All right, I was surprised by that. Good job, everybody, thinking on the same wavelength there. I was really surprised. I think when we recap this,
either that or we're all idiots.
Yeah, that could be the case.
Yeah, it's probably
number 3, I've got Dallas, and I know they lost to the Saints. You're going to lose on the road in the NFL. You're going to have a bad week. But for the most part, I think they played very well defensively in that game. They just did not have it offensively that night. So I've been with Dallas all year. I still am impressed by what they have and the the weapons that they bring to the table. But most importantly with Dallas, where I like them is in the trenches and on defense.
Yeah,
that is a recipe for winning in the NFL.
The trenches. All right, number 3 for me. All of my picks have started off with reluctantly, but once again, reluctantly going with the Rams. I think they've been disappointing as far as expectations and their inability at times to move the ball on offense. I know they put up a 40 spot in a loss, but Todd Gurley, where has he gone in the running game? And the rhythm on offense, I don't think, has been as smooth as we've seen it with Sean McVay in recent history. But nonetheless, they're 3-1. I expect them to make things right and continue their winning ways for the majority of the year. So I have the Rams staying at number 3.
I like that. You're not week to week. That's my motto. Don't be a week to week.
Yeah, I factor it in, but it depends.
Right. Is it me or you? Okay, me. I have at number 3 the Buccaneers. I'm kidding. I'm just wondering if you guys are going to look at me with your eyes falling out of your head. I have the
bad joke.
I have the Seattle Seahawks. I'm a big believer. I've had them in my top 5, I believe, all year. I'm a big believer in their process, their coaching staff, their scouting, their talent development. Even when they go through a few struggles, I think they're always going to get
top
up.
5 team right
they are,
now?
Well, they're 3-1. Yeah. Their only loss is a 6-point loss to the Saints. So if you think the Saints are good, and they were, although I got to admit that the final score was closer than that game appeared, and they've only beaten the Steelers and Bengals, but they went on the road to beat the Steelers, and they went on the road this weekend and really dusted up Arizona well. So I and Pittsburgh. So not a great strength of schedule there.
Not at all.
But they're the team, and you saw Clowney have an interception return that always gets better as the season goes on. And right now they're 3-1 with the Rams up here.
All right, number 2, 2-1. I think we all have the same, but I made a little adjustment in my top.
What'd you
I'm
do?
Going Patriots 2, Kansas City 1. That kicker injury is a scary one. How many times has a Patriots game came down to the foot of a kicker?
Right.
And they lose in a league where kicking is so temperamental. These guys, the Chargers have gone through 10 kickers in a calendar year. You can't just grab a guy off the street and stick him in there.
Are you doubting Bill Belichick here?
He hasn't had to change a kicker in 10 years.
I know. It could be 20. He's going to go find some Joe Schmo at the
he's
local bar.
going to convert his long snapper into a kicker.
I'm just saying, if
Troy
those
Brown
two
style.
teams in your mind were that even, it could come down to a kick between those teams and some guy who, I don't know, name a kicker that they're going to find right now that no other team has uncovered yet, because let me tell you, there's a lot of teams that – now, this would have been interesting if Vinatieri did retire a couple of weeks ago, because there was some talk that he would have retired because he missed 5 kicks in a game.
Right.
And there was some talk that he was going to announce his retirement, and he did not. But if he had done that. But, yeah, how many teams have had to switch kickers recently? A lot. We're just blowing through kickers.
Yep.
You're telling me there's a guy that the Patriots have on speed dial? This is the guy. This is a big injury for them. Not in that they're going to be 14-2. I'm talking about in a big game when you need a big kick. I think the Chiefs might have a little edge on them now.
It's a good point. Remember when the Eagles, right before they got Elliott, we were all nervous as heck here. What's their kicker situation looking like?
Who's the guy, the Bears guy that the Eagles had, Cody Parkey?
Cody Parkey, double doink.
Yeah.
He is available.
That's right.
That's right. So is Caleb Sturgis, I believe.
There you go.
Oh, boy. Well, I'm staying with, business as usual. I have the Chiefs at number 2.
Okay. You want to – that's it?
That's it.
Okay. I went with Mike, and not because I'm week to week and I decided that the Patriots didn't look great against the Bills. To me, it goes back to the Super Bowl. it goes back to when the Patriots play a really good defensive team, they don't look like the juggernaut. Whereas the Chiefs, Detroit, we all acknowledge have looked better.
Let's not forget they won.
That makes me less impulsive. I'm actually moving them down after a win. So it's not just, you win, you get to stay. The Chiefs went on the road to Detroit, a good team, struggled a little bit, and still won that. I mean, they did struggle. They were down and came back to win. They have been a way more dominant team against whatever kind of team they play, whatever defense they play.
And once I read that Andy Reid, Whitey, I changed my thoughts on him. He's in.
What do you mean?
Did you think Andy was a boxers
surprised?
guy?
Did you guys read the article that is at ESPN.com right now?
No.
I know he butched the Mozart / Rembrandt analogy.
The odds of Andy Reid being a tighty warrior was at least minus 10,000.
Yeah, I would have to agree on that.
Right?
No way, man. I could see him wearing.
Do they make boxers big enough, expansive enough?
Definitely. I could see him wearing definitely a boxer guy.
He's so old school. I always
the Pete Thompson boxer and Andy Reid boxer, a picture I have.
I'm not sure what a Pete Thompson boxer looks like.
You've never seen a Pete Thompson boxer? Dude, all that guy does.
Not that I can recall.
You ever go golfing with him?
Yes.
He will drop the trowels right on the middle of the golf course to tuck his shirt in. And he's got these boxers that are like down to his knees.
You got to save this for the Romeo Cornell podcast.
That's the name of the podcast.
I agree.
The Romeo Cornell podcast. That is funny.
An inside joke that only us and our listeners would get.
Yeah, I mean, all right, so let's break this down a little because there was a lot of contenders. The Fine Five, really, there's two that I think we all like, and then 3, 4, and 5 is like a steel cage match. I mean,
it is.
You could throw Green Bay in there, Chicago in there,
Niners.
San Francisco in there, the
How about
Rams
the Niners
in there.
Not being in there.
Yeah, I mean, I had the Rams in there last week. Now, I thought they had the worst loss of the week. Of the teams that got beat or were disappointing losses, I thought the Rams giving up 55 was the most disappointing loss. Like Green Bay losing, all right, you lost to a good Eagles team. Dallas losing on the road against a good Saints team. The teams that lost that I stuck with, they had the worst loss of that group. So I stuck with the Saints after them in. But the week before, Green Bay was in. They lost. I bounced them out, and I had the Rams out. So one of those had to go. I was thoroughly shocked with Tampa putting 55 up on the road against the Rams. That's why I had to pull them out.
You can make an argument, though, can't you, that Rams put up 40. They moved the ball well on offense, especially late in the game. I mean, you got to tip your cap a little bit to Winston and Tampa Bay, putting up a 50 spot on the road. It's like, I don't look at it. I see how you can look at it as a bad loss, but I really don't.
I think it was more flukish, in my opinion, than bad. Not saying that Tampa Bay couldn't beat them again. I just don't know that they're going to play that game 10 times and Tampa Bay is going to score 55 times in that game.
Yeah.
I feel like it was the most flukish. Like the Packers loss to me may be more revealing because that's the second time they really could not stop a team from running against them. They were fortunate enough that the Vikings weren't going to throw the ball at all in the first one and beat them. But now I look at them and they have to play Dallas this weekend, and you wonder, can they really hold up against the big-time offense?